Hey everybody, it's Russell. Welcome back to the channel. And this is a video not just for AMC investors, but for really anybody that would like to be rich and or accumulate money. And this isn't I don't have a link, I don't have a course, I don't have a shortcut for this. This is just ways that I've observed that people can become rich. I know as an AMC investor, we're all waiting for the Moass, but just in case there isn't a Moass or it's a Loass, how are the ways that, apes could get rich without the AMC Moass? So you look at these individuals, these are obviously very wealthy individuals, and when you see their faces, you automatically think of money. But how do they get rich, or how can an average person get rich? Well, I'm going to rule some things out. First, don't commit crimes to get rich. Because if you go to jail, it's not worth it. Don't do a con, even if something is technically legal. Don't be running cons on people. I saw this internet story where this guy went on a date, and he and his date drove to the restaurant in separate cars. And when they got there was an attendant that made them each pay $20 to park the cars. The guy paid the $40 for both of them, and when they got inside, he found out from the restaurant that this wasn't affiliated with the restaurant, and this guy had just basically ripped them off. The guy went out, killed the guy that took his, the money, and then he went back in and finished his date. And my point was, one, the guy that just lost $40, now he's going to be in jail probably for the rest of his life. But also the guy that was out there conning money from people, he paid for it with his life. Crime and cons, they're not worth it. And the third one that I would throw in there is just outright gambling. It's very risky. Yes, you could probably get rich, but you could also get poor doing it. Now, throwing those three things out of the picture, they're not part of the 13. I just wanted to get them out. If you really want to accumulate money, accumulate wealth, I think there's 4 factors that come to play. One is luck. It always helps to be lucky. The other is time. How much time do you have to accumulate this money? Right? Are you in your 20s or are you in your 50s or 60s? That makes a difference. How much money do you have to start with? You ever heard the term, it takes money to make money? In some of these instances, you have to have money in order to make that, more money. Or if you have limited amount of money, what can you do to accumulate more? And then the fourth one is hard work. There's no escaping that with some of these things, that you're going to have to work hard. However, there's others where you don't have to work quite as hard. And I want to say this is full disclosure. I'm not rich. This is my car. I drive a Hyundai Tucson, and nobody comes up to me with their cell phone and says, "Hey, bro, can I ask you how what do you do to afford this car?" Right? But compared to other people, I might be considered rich. If you're a homeless person, hey, I've got a home. We've got 2 cars. My wife and I both work. You could say, "Wow, this guy's living in the Taj Mahal." But compared to a millionaire or a billionaire, I'm nothing, right? So it's all relative. But I just want to make clear on that I myself don't consider myself necessarily rich, but I've tried to get rich my whole life. But the other day, we got our car wash, and I thought about the car wash, and I say to my wife, "Let's go get our car wash." She's like, "Fine," and I'm all on board with that. But then I say, "We're just going to wash it. We're just going through the drive-through, wash it. We're not doing the vacuuming part." And she likes doing the vacuuming part. I don't. And the reason is, when you're driving through the car wash, it's easy. You just sit there. The car wash does all the work for you. You paid for it. You just sit and enjoy your car being washed. Those vacuums, they're loud. They've got those big tubes that are dusty. You go all through these cracks and crevices in your car, and scooping up all this gunk and junk. And we have 2 kids. You got to take the car seats out. You got to have the kids standing by, make sure they're not running into traffic while you're doing all this. It's dusty. I hate that part of it. But that's my point. One part of getting the car wash is you're passive. You're sitting there. It's doing all the work. The other way is very hard work, and you're physically doing it. It's dirty. It's not pleasant. And that's the thing with earning money. Some of it is easy. Some of it is very hard. It's a combination. Now, in making this video in form, AMC Apes, I'm going to advocate that investing money is probably the best way for your average person to get wealthy or to get rich. But I'm going to save that one till the end of the 13, and we're going to explore all the rest of the ways that you could become wealthy or become rich. And we're going to start with the easiest and the most obvious way to be born rich. If you're lucky enough to be born into a wealthy family, congratulations. Through no fault of your own, you're rich, and that's fine. Take advantage of it. Don't blow it. Be appreciative of where you are in life. That's all I can say. But you have to be extremely lucky. Remember those, 4 things? Luck is the best part of that. There's no skill. We're born where we're born. So that's all luck. The other way, inherit money. Again, this is an easy thing. It's lucky. Someone dies and they passes you on either money or a house. All I can say is be good to people, and that's about it. If you get money, because you could live your whole life, poor or middle class, and then at the end, you could inherit $1 million if you know the right people that want to leave that to you. But again, that's a lot of luck too, and you do have to be nice to people, I suppose. So it does take some hard work in that regard of living a good life. The third way, easy way, win the lotto. Now it's easy in that you just you buy your ticket and then hey, your numbers come up and they give you money. The hard part is it's extremely rare that people win the lotto. It does happen. People do win the lotto, and a lot of times the people that win the lotto money, they end up losing it in the end. They're poor again. But it does happen. But it's extremely rare. I wouldn't count on winning the lotto for your wealth. And another way to get a lot of money quickly without too much effort is to win a major lawsuit. The lawyers probably do all the work for you. The bad thing is, unfortunately, something bad probably happened to you to be able to have a lawsuit where you're going to get a lot of money. Either you or someone got hurt really badly, or someone died possibly, and there's a major lawsuit where you're getting all this money, or someone did something to your business, or something happened where you're getting all this money. And it's a lot of times you never know how it's going to work out, and it can be very timely. Court and legal proceedings take a while, as AMC is investors are learning. Yeah, that's the lawsuit. Now here's a couple other quick ways, or quick easy ways, but these are kind of unlikely. You have to have a lot of luck. You could be a professional athlete. If you're good enough to be in the major leagues in basketball, football, or baseball, or hockey, you could make a lot of money there. But boy, you've got to be genetically blessed usually to do that. If your parent was an NBA player and your mom was a track star, there's a real good chance you could be a professional athlete. But if you don't have the right genes, and you're not an amazing athlete, in your youth or in high school or in college, you're probably not going to be a professional athlete. That's something that you can kind of track and determine. And even then, it's still rare. It's still hard to be a professional athlete. You also have a very short career. So if you are a professional athlete making a lot of money, save that money, because you won't be making the money that you're making at 22 that you are when you're 42. So make sure you save money. The other thing is a professional artist. This would be like an actor, a writer, or an actual artist, a painter or something, where your art is worth millions of dollars. But again, that's very lucky. You have to have something special about the way you think and how you express yourself, or the way you're just born. Some people are just born beautiful and people love to look at them, and they can be models and actors. But again, you have to kind of be lucky to be a professional artist. It's a tough life trying to do it. Now, what are the realistic ways that an average person can become rich? Well, here we go. Get a high-paying profession, or study to be a high-paid professional. And that's something, if you're young enough, you can say, well, what professions out there that are achievable? Again, an NFL quarterback makes a lot of money. A movie star makes a lot of money. But those are hard jobs to acquire. What is a realistic job that I can go to college and learn this and actually get a job doing it and work hard to doing it? So find out what those high-paying professions are and what you need to be one, and work really hard. And over time, you should be able to accumulate money. Another way, let's say you don't want to necessarily be a lawyer or a doctor, you could be an extreme saver. As long as you have a decent paying job and you're able to save money at an extreme rate, over time you could become a millionaire. And I'll give you an example. We probably all know, The Bachelor. They never got married. They don't have kids. And so they can control their spending, and they live cheap. They have a cheap apartment, cheap car, And if this person works, for 30 years, and over those 30 years, they're able to save $34,000 a year, and just put it aside, and that's with like no interest, no investing it, just, if you just put it in a cardboard box over time, over those 30 years, if you could save $34,000 a year, you'd have over $1 million. So, but most people, it's hard for them to save that kind of money, especially if you're married and have kids. The expenses just start coming. But if you can be an extreme saver, you might be a millionaire one day. Now we're going to get into some areas that are hard work, but also, boy, they take a lot of luck too. And one is to start a business. And if you've ever started a business, I don't need to tell you this. It's hard. You have to get lucky. Most of them don't work out, but sometimes they do. And you have to work hard. You have to be in the right place at the right time. And usually you have to have some money to start a business, depending on what it is. Be careful. You see a lot of these people running, YouTube ads about businesses you could start with no money, or they're so easy, and you make it so, look how much money I've made doing this. Well, if you've made that much money doing this, why are you peddling your course, your book, your link to me, right? Wouldn't you just be retired by now? So be careful of all that stuff. But if you start a business, that is one way, obviously, to make money. You can invent something. If you can invent a product, that's a possibility. Again, that's hard. And, you'll see these stories like on Shark Tank or other invention shows, and these people talk about their inventions. And a lot of times it'll come up like how much money they've invested in their product, and they're still trying to get someone to, take it to market. Sometimes they mortgage their houses. So be very careful when you're going to invent your product, that you don't overextend yourself. I've tried to do some inventing, and even on a very small scale, with very easy and cheap products to make your product out of. It can get expensive doing all that stuff. But if you can invent the right product at the right time, then that's great. You can also, when you invent something, you don't have to necessarily start a business and sell it yourself. There are companies that will buy your idea, and then they'll pay you a royalty. All that stuff's on YouTube. You can find out more on that. But inventing a product, if it's the right thing, that's definitely a good way to money. Here's something that's kind of new, is social media. And you probably think, well, isn't that like being an actor or an artist? And I say, no, it's a little different, because if you can use social media and find your audience, and there's a way that the media that you use actually compensates you. Like if you're monetized on YouTube or one of these other platforms, and you find your niche, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're Kim Kardashian. It could be about history. It could be about coin collecting, philosophy, or a specialty, or history, or something. It doesn't have to be the sexy, clickbait kind of social media darlings that we normally think about. It could be something else, as long as you find your niche, as long as people are interested in watching it, and you get the kind of numbers that are valuable to a media service, and they compensate you for those. You could make some money on social media, or you could actually become a star. The difference is, I'm thinking more like the actors and actresses, and they sort of need the industry to become stars. Social media, you just need your idea and your platform, and you can do it on your own a lot of times. So social media, if you can find the right way and grow your channel, there's a way to make money. Now, another good one, if you have the money, is real estate. There's only so much land, right? If you're able to buy a house, and over time, that house goes up in value, that's a great way to, increase your value and get money. If you sell that house and then buy another house. Now, it's harder nowadays. I know back in the 70s and 80s, you'd hear stories of people buying houses for, 150, 200,000. And then now, 10, 20, 30 years later, those houses are worth like $1 million. Great if you got in back then, or if you can get in before a big jump up, wonderful. But real estate is a way to make money. But again, you have to have money to buy that real estate to begin with. Next one is collecting rare items, whether it's like comic books or baseball cards or antiques. If you know what to look for, and you're willing to put that time and effort into going out and finding this stuff, or looking for it on eBay or yard sales, you might be able to find some things that can get you some money. And over time, if you sell them on eBay, you have your business, or your, these rare coins. There's a way to make money doing that, but it can be a lot of work to do it, and you need the money to buy these items, and then wait and turn them around later at a higher value. So this gets into now where the stocks and crypto, investing money, and I like to call it digital assets rather than crypto. And this is why I would advocate for this as a good way for an average person to make money. You can pursue the other ones. Obviously, it's not like one or nothing. You can pursue many of these different options. But what do I like about investing in stocks and digital assets? And it's because it's passive. Remember what I said about the car wash. When you buy a stock, you just sit there and you watch it. And if it goes up in value, great. You can sell it and you've made money. You don't, I bought Facebook at $20 and I sold it at about $330. And I didn't have to do anything outside of the initial decision to buy that stock, and then when I chose to sell it. Really a few mouse clicks, that's it. The only physical work I did was a few mouse clicks. I didn't work at Facebook. I didn't do anything for Facebook. I just made a decision to invest some money in them, and then at a certain point I made the decision to sell that investment and collect those profits. So if it's the car wash, that's the easy way. That's sitting in the car and the machine does all the work. The other ways that I talked about, a lot of those, they're the vacuums. You need to get a degree, you need to study, you need to, save for 30 years. Or you have to be the victim of something where there's a lawsuit. So those are the harder ways to make money, and that's the nice thing about investing. It can be pretty passive. Now, it helps if you have, the more you know about the market, the better. But that's one of the things I learned. I listened to books on Warren Buffett, and it was just about investing smart. It's not that complicated. Buy things when they're cheap. Keep your eye on. Like if you like Google, if you like Apple, if you like these big stocks, wait, save your money, and then hopefully wait when there's a market crash or the market goes down, and when people are selling and they're panicking and they don't want to invest money and they're selling their investments, that's the time you go in and scoop these things up when everyone is thinking these are bad investments or not good investments, and the market just dips down. That's when you can buy it, and then you wait, and hopefully when the market goes up, your assets go up. Buy low and sell high. Buy it when it's cheap, sell it when it's high. Same thing with digital assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, these altcoins. I invest in Dojo and Mars and Tonic. Why? Because you can buy billions. You can buy 1 billion of this stuff for, a few $100. And who knows what the next 5-10 years will bring. Maybe they'll be worth nothing. That is a very likely possibility. But on the other hand, if they do go up in value, like Dogecoin did, like Shiba Inu did, then hey, you've got 1 billion plus of these things, and that will help out. And you can't go back in a time machine and go back and buy it for a few $100. Now you're going to have to buy it for 10,000, 20,000 if you want to, get that a high amount of it. And then the other thing that Warren Buffett taught me was live smart. Live your life in a way. Remember when I talked about the lottery people that win the lottery and then they lose all the money? Or professional athletes, when they're 20s and they're making $10 million a year. So they're spending money like they're going to make $10 million for the rest of their life. And it's not that way. You have a very limited earning life as a professional athlete. So, make sure you're taking care of your money and living within your means. William Buffett almost goes to an extreme. You've heard the stories that, he just lives in the same house he always had in Omaha, Nebraska. He drives just a regular car. You can enjoy your life. You can enjoy things. But, the more, I love cars, but the more I hear about like these, Lamborghinis and Aston Martins and how much the maintenance cost on these things are, it just seems crazy. For me, I'd like to buy a Corvette, and because it looks exotic and it's, high performance car, but it's still a Chevy. I could take it to the Chevy dealer, and I don't think it would be the maintenance on a Chevy Corvette would be as extreme as on a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or something like that. So invest smart and live smart. And, use many of these ideas that we talked about. If you can invest in real estate, if you can, collect rare things, if you're able to start a business that something that, you can do. All of these things are great. Some of them are harder. I tried to be a professional writer. It didn't work out. I would never have, the ability to be a professional athlete. That's extremely doubtful. I've never been in a position where I could win a major lawsuit. I doubt I'll ever win the lottery. Inheriting money, I don't know, maybe, but that's not, my decision. If that happens, that happens. I'm grateful that somebody remembered me, but nobody has to leave me any money behind. That's not, that's just up to fate. And being born rich, I wasn't born rich. I was lucky enough to be born into an American middle-class family. And for a lot of people in the world, that is rich. And I'm grateful for where I was born. I'm grateful for my parents. I never wanted for anything in my life. I never went to bed hungry. I always had toys. They helped pay for my, college and helped me when I moved to California. And they've always been there. I wouldn't have been able to buy my house without help from my parents. So in many ways, I was born rich. I'm maybe not a millionaire, but in that respect, I'm grateful, so grateful for, being born where I was and having the help I've had from my parents. But all these things, and I unfortunately, I didn't study to be, to have a profession that was high paying. I risked it all on being a writer, and when it didn't work out, I missed out on a lot of things. So, I'm not exactly going to, become a lawyer or have a hard paying profession in my future, unless, I came up with an invention or a business. I suppose that's still possible, but those are hard things to do. I've kind of tried to do them a little bit, and in the little bit I've done them, wasn't necessarily successful. And the money that it cost, it can add up, and you sort of make your decision. Social media, I like making YouTube channels, and I've had a monetized YouTube channel before. To me, I didn't really make any money. I made a few $100, and I found it was extremely hard to get views doing what I was doing. I would have to improve that to do it. So what's in real estate, I was lucky that we do own a house, but we're not flipping it. We're just living here. And for my kids, hopefully it will help them out in the future. But I'm not exactly going to go out and start flipping real estate. What's the one thing that I have that I could accumulate wealth? And I'm also older, so I'm taking a little bit more riskier with my investments to increase some wealth. But I also have to play safe with my other investments because I'm going to be near retirement and I can't gamble that away. Some of that money, my 401k money and stuff like that, is untouchable. But I've had some play money to go into AMC and do other things with. But I still see it, investing in stocks is the most realistic way for me to make money. If you're a younger person, then, give it a try. I know it was hard for me. The first time I started my Roth IRA was in either 1998 or 1999. It was right around the time of the tech bubble bursting. So I was always wary of the stock market and investing. And of course, I make my first, investment. It was about $2,000 into some mutual funds. And of course, as soon as I do that, the market goes down and all that 2,000, the value of the 2,000 goes down. But I remember talking to someone about it, and he said, be patient, it will come back. And it did. Time after time, when it went down, it did go back up. And that was back when I was in my 20s. And I'm so glad I made those decisions. When I worked at Disney, they had an employee stock program, and each week you could take some of your paycheck, and it was just automatically done. They would buy Disney stock for you. So glad I did that. It was because I did that, we had the money to help for the down payment on our house. So one investment helped the other investment. And then, AMC, it's been rough. I don't have to tell my fellow AMC investors how rough it's been. But I still, we're still here. This story is not over yet. We know there's funny business going on. I'm still hopeful for the best. But if there isn't a Moass, I feel like I've gotten an education in the last 2 years to help hopefully bring some money in. It's just one way or the other, we got to get that AMC money back, whether it's the Moass, whether it's a low ass, or whether we just take what's left of it out and start investing it and going forward with that. But good luck to you, my fellow AMC investors. I hope some of these ideas helped you think about ways to maybe get some money and hopefully get rich. Who knows? We'll see. It's not an easy thing. I've been trying my whole life, but I'm certainly not poor. But in some ways, they didn't work out. But good luck to you, and good luck coming up for the week for Doge Loan Mars, for AMC, for Tonic. Good luck, investors.